clitoris, I'll start stroking it with a, kind of a firmish sort of stroke, kind of slow, and then I'll gradually lighten it to bring her up on a peak, and one secret of extended orgasm, as we said earlier, is go a little slower and lighter than you normally would, so you don't kind of overwhelm the person. Lighten the stroke. Eventually, my finger will be off of her clitoris, and her clitoris will then engorge and reach for my finger. That's one of the benefits of doing light stroking. And then I'll kind of increase the pressure and bring her down a little bit, take little breaks for a half second, that kind of thing. So there's like music, there's a sort of rhythm. We'll go on a number of peaks. And that's the, then I'll bring her down. That's the clitoral stroking practice. Extended orgasm itself is something that applies to all sex acts. So we would recommend doing some clitoral stroking to really get things rolling, but it'll continue during whatever sex acts.
The clitoris is the most sensitive part of the body. There's the most nerve endings in the clitoris. It's there purely for pleasure. So that's why we focus on a clitoral stroking practice, and that can translate into other sex acts. You enjoy other sex acts more. I also know that a lot of moms or parents are listening, and sometimes when you're in a relationship, whether you've had kids or for whatever reason, you kind of can get out of the groove of your sexual relationship pretty easily. And couples often don't know what to do. Like, they want to get back into it. They want to have that romantic vibe back. And the idea of going from like 0 to 100, right? 0 being stressed or busy and not turned on to
being a mom,
right? Being a mom, life, all the way to intercourse is kind of like too big of a jump sometimes. And so the clitoral stroking practice in and of itself is amazing. It's much easier to get into that. And it also can be a stepping stone towards other sex acts.
So why do you think clitoral stroking with the finger versus like oral sex?
Well, oral sex has some advantages too. There's a lot of eroticism in oral sex, but the advantage of clitoral stroking as a manual technique is that a person has a lot more dexterity with their hands, and it's easier to communicate with your partner, and it's easier to do for a prolonged time. So it's really optimizing the sensual aspect, taking the most sensitive, the female clitoris, with the most dexterous, the tip of the index finger. So it's kind of optimizing everything sensually. Now, eroticism is another really important part of sex. Eroticism is like, I don't know, nowadays people talk a lot about kink or dominance and submissiveness or different things that turn a person on. A woman might be turned on by firemen or, whatever. Right? So both of you are laughing.
Firemen? I
know it is.
I mean, I guess like the fireman calendars that came out, the Hot Five. Yeah, okay.
Right. For example.
Yeah.
Now, how do I know that? Well, because I've said every variation, farmer, policeman, but fireman is the hit.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one that gets the most likes. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, now eroticism is fun, but sometimes, especially nowadays, people kind of lean on the erotic too much. If it's too much about the role playing or the equipment or dominance or submissiveness or whatever, if that becomes the main part, the entree, not the appetizer, there's just not that much chemistry happening.